Oh, hey folks. For those of you following my now continuing saga of trying to get that silly pink Volkswagen Rabbit convertible to go, you'll know that my last video, the first one, frankly, I went through the typical things like the spark at each spark plug, you know, the coil, obviously that implies that the coil's all good. There was fuel through the fuel rail, that's cool. So now, of course, my next logical, in my own head anyway, is to check the injectors. So I have a really quick way to test at least that they're functioning, and that by that I mean clicking, right? If anyone knows anything about these things, there's fuel pressure in the rail, and then all this thing does is just open and close when it receives the pulse from the ECM. So as you might understand, if these things check out okay, then the ECM might be my next thing. So let me just reposition you guys, and I'll show you a super simple way to do this with a 9-volt battery and a couple of wires with some alligator clips on it, just to get a sense that you know these things are even working. You know, it's really dead simple. So try here, it's easy. Okay, hang on one sec, I'll reposition you folks. All right, well, so it's super simple. Okay, get yourself a battery. 9-volt works enough. It's enough to make these things click. It won't click really loud, not like your 12-volt probably would, but it's dead simple. You do this, and then obviously within each of these, at least on the Volkswagen ones, let's see if you can see in there, they're just two of these 2 pins, right? So you put one on, and then I don't want to put the pin, put it on permanently, because these things really only pulse, right? So not that 9 volts would really do any damage, but they're not meant to be continuously on. So see if you can hear this. First of all, you can see spark between there, so at least you know there's something happening. And I can actually hear, I hope you folks can too. You can actually hear, it's not just this spark, you can hear that little click. So that seems to imply that that one's cool. So let's try, that's one, we got 4 here, so let's run it through here. Same deal, see if you can pick this one up. Oop, where are we in focus there? There, that one's much more loud. So frankly, this one, maybe it's not, the first one I did maybe isn't working as hot, but we'll see, because this isn't the only test I'm going to do. This is just my first test. Yeah, definitely. That one's clicking really loud. So, of course, the car, if you recall, is kind of misfiring on, I would say it's barely firing on one cylinder. So if one of these things is kind of sketchy, I don't think that's the ultimate root of my problem, but there, that one's pretty loud too. I don't know if you can hear that. Let's do that. So, all right, so out of this, I've got one that maybe seems to be a little quieter. Let's try it one more time just to see. And then I've got 3 that seem to be working fine. So the next thing I'm going to do is try to devise a clever way to test the flow out of those, because I don't have a fuel injector tester, right? You know, those ones where they're like $300. I'm not interested in doing that. But I can put these things back on the fuel rail, which I'll do, and then I can get the fuel rail close enough to that I can actually plug in the return line and the fuel line, obviously, and the fuel pressure regulator thing. I'm going to put that in there too. But I'm going to leave the injectors out, and then hopefully I'll have an assistant that can actually just crank these, and I can see. You don't want to spray fuel everywhere, of course, but I just want to see if there's any spray coming out of these things at all, and obviously what that spray pattern looks like. So that's what I'm going to do next. So so far it looks like the injectors aren't the problem, but like I said, this is test 1 of 2. Stay tuned. Okay, so I've put this contraption back in the car. You can see that I've pushed the injectors back into the rail. That's actually really easy. A little bit of petroleum jelly sometimes around the O-ring will help, but if you just kind of wiggle and make sure that the O-ring doesn't kind of pull itself down, it'll pop in. And then once they're in, you can actually rotate them all you want, as long as you make sure they're seated. So hooked up the vacuum for the fuel pressure regulator, and I know which fuel hose and return hose are there. So the first step is I'm going to pressurize the system by just turning on the ignition and listening for the fuel pump. Now, I won't be able to watch the injectors as I do that, but they shouldn't do anything. So if the fuel rail is pressurized, then all I need to do is to touch either the 9-volt, or I might see if I can start to use the 12-volt, just to fire each injector individually. Then I can see kind of what the fuel pattern is. So that's what I'm going to do, and wish me luck. Hopefully this isn't the before video for my insurance company when I burn the garage down. So oddly enough, my little contraption here is bearing fruit because, again, there's pressure to the line. So all I need to do is find a way to do this with one hand and touch it to the battery. And you can see that injector's firing. So that means, it seems to be fine. It's not clogged, it's not dirty. Maybe the spray pattern isn't ideal. I really, frankly, don't know what that's like. It seems a little too much like a jet to me, but who knows? So I'm going to go across the rest of these and make sure it works. But I'm more than a little proud of myself for figuring this little situation out, because instead of using the carb cleaner under pressure with hoses and stoppers and all that stuff, this is, while a little more messy, is I think kind of a little easier. So I'll put the camera somewhere where you can see, and I'll follow through the rest of the injectors. Thanks. All right, injector number 2. Not sure if you can see, but let's see. Oh, that one doesn't want to do anything. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's a better spray pattern too, frankly. So that one seems to work. Let's try injector number 3. There we go. Let's put that one on that side. It really shouldn't matter. That one works too. All right, injector number 4. There we go. All right, well, good thing I didn't spend money on injectors, because those seem to work. So now all I'm wanting to do here is I'm going to put this thing all back in the car, and honestly, I'm kind of running out of ideas. If any of you happen to be Volkswagen Mark 1 Digifant 2 experts, please, I'm all ears, because I can get this thing to fire like once every couple of revs, and it seems like only on one at a time. And as I said, I've checked all the spark, everything's sparking. I've checked all the timing, it seems to be fine too, but it just doesn't seem to want to go. So let's see what's next. Okay, so I put it all back together. The injectors are in, they're plugged in, all the rest of that stuff. And now let's give it a crank and see if it made any difference. I don't think that made any difference. All right, let's turn this around. Hey, everybody. All right, well, I guess I'm an expert at figuring out what's not the problem. So, got spark, plug leads are fine, coil leads fine, fuel injectors are fine. Seems like, I shouldn't say that. I don't know if the ECU is fine, so that's kind of my last step here. But if any of you have any expertise, I am all ears. Please comment below and give me some tips on how to figure out a Digifant 2 1990 Volkswagen Cabriolet and why it's not starting. It wants to fire. I'm pretty sure I got the timing right too, but maybe I don't. Like I said in the other video, this one I can't really find, through the service hole, I can't really find the mark. So either I'm going to replace the ECU, or I'm going to drop the motor and mark all the timing things, put new gaskets in it, probably put a new clutch in it while I'm at it, and see what happens from there. So I'd like not to have to do that right away though, so if you have any wisdom, please share. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching. Click like if you had a good laugh at my silliness here, and please don't forget to subscribe if you think I've earned it. Anyway, all the best, folks. Hope you guys have a good time between this video and the next one. Take care.